Going here. Okay, good evening, everyone. It's great to have you all with us tonight. My name is Wendy Kramer. For those of you who are new to the call, welcome. To those who are, this is your first time on, you picked a good call to start with. We've got some great information for you tonight. Before we get started with Dr. Nugent, I want to remind you all that tomorrow, you probably know this, is April 30th. That's the end of the business period, end of the month. So be sure you're checking on who is close to the next leadership level. You're giving them a phone call, helping them to rank up to the next level. And also, this is a perfect time to hear Dr. Nugent tonight. You'll have a lot of good information to go back to customers with tomorrow to really work at getting your volume up to the next level for the end of the business period. Also, for Achievers Club, remember you've got one more day to get that associate if you haven't got an associate in for this month so that you can maintain your status in Achievers Club. And so I know you're going to want to do that. Well, we have got tonight more highlights from Manifest, and I'm super excited about our guest for tonight because Dr. Nugent was one of the highlights at Manifest for sure. He introduced some new products to us, and so we've invited him to come on the call tonight and share with us. And before he does that, I also want to introduce Ron and Paulette Roy and Amanda Luttrell are also part of the team up to Zoom, and we have put together a whole series of Manifest update calls and just information from Manifest. We'll tell you about the next speaker coming up next week at the end of the call. But tonight, we're going to focus on the new products that we heard about at Manifest, and especially on the Catalyst Multivitamin. And Dr. Nugent's also going to talk about the Premier 7, the new women's product, just a little bit. We were going to talk about the True Shape product, but Dr. Nugent told me that there is an excellent video on that in the library. So to save time tonight, I'm going to tell you to go to library.mannatech.com and put True Shape in the search box, and you'll come up with a new video that Dr. Nugent just did on this product. And it is excellent, and it's going to really explain the improvements to the True Shape product, which is in the True Health fat loss system. So we'll save that for another time. So tonight, Dr. Nugent, we want to welcome you to our call, and I'm going to let you just take it over and share with us about the Catalyst Vitamin and what makes it so unique. If you do have a question, guys, you can put your question in the chat box, but Dr. Nugent knows a lot of the questions already, and he's going to probably answer them as he goes along. So Dr. Nugent, it's all yours.
Okay, Wendy. Thank you very much, and thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. It really is helpful to me to be able to communicate with a great number of people all in one shot. Really appreciate it very much. All right, so very quickly for you, what Wendy said, because we want to make sure we get a little bit of everything here. Catalyst is the main focus tonight, but the True Shape video, as Wendy just mentioned, is truly excellent. It's 5 minutes and 3 seconds. You can use it both for information and for recruiting. If you can't recruit using that new True Shape video, you have big problems, okay? It is a great video, and it's a free downlink, and you guys need to do that. Now, on the woman's product, new Women's Premier 7, I'm just going to very quickly go over a couple of highlights because, again, we have limited time, and I want to hit all the biggies for you on Catalyst. Oops, we didn't need that. Okay, so what our idea behind Premier 7 was not just to have a woman's product because we had already launched a men's product, but because women have very specific needs as it relates to hormonal function, which are far more complicated than men. Oh my gosh, so much more complicated. Ladies, you know that. Men don't always know that. So it's important for all of you to know. So we set up a product in this formulation where you can deal with stress more effectively, because stress really affects not only a woman's hormonal balance. Every time you're having a stressful thought, whether you're a man or a woman, you will produce chemistry in your brain, which then causes a cascade of events through your glands, and that can affect your hormones. Well, for women, it's much more pronounced. It's much more significant than it is for men. And of course, these days, women are trying to do so many things all at once. Being a wife has its challenges, being a mother has super challenges, being both has more. And then if you're a career person, there's more, and the list goes on. So this product, one of the big benefits of this product is helping you to control cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone which is secreted by your adrenal glands. And the more of it you secrete, the more fat you are going to deposit and store on your body. That's the way it works. So, of course, if your cortisol increases and your body fat increases, you're more stressed out because you're getting fat. So one of the things that we've done in this formula is to try and address cortisol. This means not only is this good for you on a daily basis as a woman's product, it may also help you with True Health and your fat loss program as well. So that's something to think about. And so very quickly, we've added a new product, and I'm going to make a separate video on this, which will be, I'm guessing, because we have to get approvals and all that stuff, but I'm guessing that it's going to be around 5 minutes or less. That's the target I'm shooting for. That will explain to everybody what ashwagandha is, why the Sensoril patented form of ashwagandha is superior to virtually all of the ashwagandha products on the market anywhere in the world, and that it has 11 scientific studies to substantiate a long list of claims that we have. Not just stress and mood, that's the claim that they approved for this product, but these studies cover heart health and psychological issues, and I mean, the list goes on. And so I'll make that separate video for you as soon as I can get that done. Today I was in a almost 3-hour meeting about video production, and boy, am I going to be busy. I'll tell you what, really, really busy. So we'll talk about ashwagandha in that separate video. For all the ladies, the ingredients that have been added: maca root increases libido. It increases sex drive in men and women, and it is pretty effective. But of course, for women, there are the psychological / hormonal issues involved in sex drive, whereas for men, it's basically, well, simpler. We'll leave it at that. There's trimethylglycine in here. You're going to see that a lot more in the products. You saw it first in Cardio Balance when I formulated that product. And this is a mood enhancer, and it helps you to feel happier and better. But it also gives you improved circulation, and all ladies need that. Suma root helps to increase libido in women, so we've added that. It's an adaptogen. Of course, passion flower is a product you'll find in every woman's product that is made for this purpose. And we have our own glyconutrient complex, of course, which is ambrotose, basically. We're not calling it ambrotose. We are listing the ingredients individually. Okay, and that's some kind of a regulatory thing for certain countries we're going to. I don't do regulatory, so I don't actually know what all that is. But so AmbroGuard and Mannapol are two most important glyconutrients are in it. Gum tragacanth gives you 6 more glyconutrients. Ashwagandha itself is a glyconutrient product, and no one knew that until very recently, even though it's been used for thousands of years. Okay, so let me go. Sorry that was so fast, but that, we're just, as I say, limited time. We're trying to get a lot done here. All right, so we don't need the intro slide. You folks know who I am. And let's start here. So I want all of you going into the future, and I've been saying this a lot recently, and those of you who've been to my training on it's called the Psychology of Successful Presentations, which, by the way, both Al and Richard Brooke want me to start teaching to all of you because you all have to do presentations. And that's based on psychological studies. So you've heard me say already that you don't want to put more than 3 ideas on a slide. If your slide's too busy, nobody will remember it, or they'll misunderstand it. They'll think they read something different than what you had. So keep it simple. Know your material, speak what you want to speak, but the slide needs to be simple. So 3 words that describe Mannatech into our future: science, safety, efficacy. The narrative is simple. We will use the latest and best science to create the safest and most effective products as validated by scientific study. That's it. That's the narrative. That's who's Mannatech versus everybody else. So I know that we had almost 11 years ago, Sam created the Real Food Technology story. And so everybody used those three words, real food technology. Actually, we always were and we will always be the Glyconutrient company, not the Real Food Technology company, but the Glyconutrient company. So that's caused a little confusion with folks. So remember, science, safety, efficacy, that is Mannatech. That's who we are. That is the description of the Mannatech difference versus everybody else. In the presentation that I teach on how to do successful presentations, I always tell people, tell everybody up front what you're going to do before you start your presentation. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to cover the FAQs that have been coming in like crazy. Now we've had, maybe 5 associate leaders who are continuing to email the entire universe with all of their negatives. And we've had a few people that have gone on Facebook and done the same thing. And then the rest of you have been very sensible and simply sent me an email saying, what does this mean? Rather than posting a negative somewhere. Posting negatives doesn't help anyone, including yourself. And all of you sensible folks on this call, you all know that. So I'm going to deal with these FAQs that have been coming up. As I say, today I had several hundred emails. And it's people going to Google, and they'll Google a word, they get a definition back, they don't know what it means, so they make an assumption of what they think it means. We're going to clear that up this evening. And of course, one of the things that I got from the S&P folks this morning on that call was that, we need to know what's the story, what's the difference between Phytomatrix and Catalyst. Why are we shifting to Catalyst? We need to know that. So that's how we're going to start this evening and answer all the other questions about calcium carbonate, chelates, organic versus inorganic. We'll do all that. If time allows, I'm going to go as fast as I can, but if time allows, I will also do the quote presentation that shows the benefits of Catalyst. If not, we'll definitely get these out of the way. And I do already have, of course, I did the 90-minute talk on Thursday night. I did the 12-minute talk on Tuesday Night Live, which simply generated hundreds of emails of people saying, I don't understand this and that. Because if you don't say it all in one presentation, then I have to deal with all the separate emails. So that's why we did the 90-minute talk on Thursday night. Now, most people are not going to watch a whole 90 minutes, and that's okay, but all of the answers are on that particular presentation. And then, of course, you still have the new Catalyst launch presentation from Manifest that you can still link to through our website and watch that if you wish. Okay? So, I need to get to this. We've had a lot of people asking me, can Catalyst be used as a prenatal? The answer is no. Mannatech does not at this time, there's a clue there, folks, does not at this time have a prenatal. Okay? This is very, very important to all of you. Listen very carefully. That baby has certain requirements while it's forming in the womb. One of those requirements is the baby's, a portion of the baby's brain, which is called the reticular activating system. If it doesn't get enough iron, that child will never be able to reach its full cognitive potential as an adult. Never, ever, ever. You've got to have sufficient iron in the womb, or you will shortchange that child for the rest of its life. It is crucially important, okay? If you want to use Catalyst during pregnancy, it's safe, that's not a problem, but there isn't sufficient iron for that child, okay? The baby has to be considered first here. So, if you want to talk with your physician and also get an iron supplement in addition, I personally recommend that the iron is checked every 2 weeks because that is so important for the baby's entire life. That 9 months is so, so important. So please, folks, it's not a prenatal. We don't have one at this moment. I'll leave it at that on that one, all right? Okay, so the first thing that all of you have to answer for everybody, you saw me do this Thursday night, you saw me do this an abbreviated version on Tuesday night, and you've seen a little bit of this at Manifest, but I'm going to give you I'm always changing these things based on FAQs that I get on a daily basis, so I keep making changes. All right, so people are going to say to you, what's different, what's changed? My doctor thinks I don't need dietary supplements. My doctor says I don't need vitamins. The TV and so on, they just say, oh no, that's all nonsense. All I have to do is eat right. Folks, I'm going to show you definitive, powerful information that I hope all of you will use to convince people that they need to be taking a vitamin mineral supplement every day, starting yesterday. I mean, it's so important, and I'm gonna say this very strongly for everyone. So I make the analogy of a car. Well, this is a van, but legal wouldn't let me use my car for, I don't know why they wouldn't, but who cares? So so the point here is, think about stress and economy. Our ancestors, most of the history of the human race was before the industrial age began and before the synthetic chemical age began and before we had all the pollution that we have today. So think about when you drive your vehicle on a level road, you get the best fuel economy and you have the least stress on your parts of your engine. Now think about yourself as an organic machine. You're a carbon-based life form. That makes you organic. And this means that your machine also has less stress walking on a level plane than you would if you were climbing up a hill. Everyone knows that. So the industrial age starts and pollution starts. And pollution starts in the air and in the water. And now with the age of synthetic chemistry, we have synthetic chemicals that are put in our food, some of which we know causes health issues. Some don't cause any issues at all. So synthetic doesn't mean it's bad or harmful. It simply means that it was made by humans versus naturally occurring on the planet. That's all it means. Okay. So we need to get away from this always never psychology. If it's synthetic, it'll kill you. If it's natural, it's good for you. Lead is natural. Lead is not good for you. Okay. And there are synthetics which are good for you. I pointed out in the training on Thursday night, we deliberately use synthetic vitamin C and Bounce Back because Bounce Back has a unique, an absolutely unique combination of fat and water soluble molecules. Both of these molecules have to work with vitamin C to make the product work as we designed it. So we deliberately used a particular synthetic vitamin C, which is called ascorbyl palmitate. It's absolutely safe and it's absolutely effective for its purpose. It's an amphiphilic molecule, and that means one end of it attracts water and one end of it attracts fat. Vitamin C attracts water on both ends, natural vitamin C. So natural vitamin C would not have worked in Bounce Back. We had to use a synthetic. So I want everyone to get a grip on this. Science, 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 science. We're never going to do anything that isn't safe. That's simply not going to happen. At least not as long as I'm at Mannatech, and I'm not going to endorse anything that isn't safe. So everyone get a grip on that. But sometimes a synthetic is actually preferable to a natural for certain applications. Some of you will remember when we did I launched Phytomatrix in every country in the world except Japan. And when I did my Phytomatrix presentations, some of you may remember a slide that I used that some people thought was odd, and it showed a picture of the man who discovered vitamin C. That was a Hungarian scientist named Dr. Albert von St. Georgi. And St. Georgi, after he discovered vitamin C, very shortly after he discovered vitamin C, and he identified what it was and he gave it a name and all that sort of thing. Shortly after that, synthetic chemists found a way to create synthetic vitamin C. Now, he never said, and if you remember from my Phytomatrix launch presentations, if you remember, I always brought that slide up and I always said, Dr. St. Georgi never said synthetic vitamin C didn't work. He said it wouldn't cure scurvy. Those are two different concepts. None of you on this call and none of the associates in your downline are going to be out to sea on a sailing ship for months without vitamin C. That's not happening to any of you, okay? So none of you are going to get scurvy. That's not even a consideration. His point was to say that synthetic vitamin C, yes, it does raise your white cell count when you have an infection. This is why people take vitamin C, to help their immune system, to raise their white cell count, etc. Synthetic does that. But there are certain factors with natural vitamin C as it works towards a disease called scurvy that synthetic will not do. And if you were diagnosed with scurvy, I'd have you drinking so much lime juice and orange juice and lemon juice that you'd blow up, okay? So that's that conversation. And I mean, we could belabor that for days. All right, so in the 21st century, what's happening is your organic machine is driving uphill. The industrial age changed everything. The synthetic age changed it even further. And the fact is that air pollution and water pollution are accumulating at alarming levels. Alarming. The amount of, any of you who've ever been to China, oh my gosh, I've been to China several times, and if you're not wearing a face mask, you're almost certainly going to feel the results in your body. The air is so terrible there. And the government there says they're not going to do anything about it. They've simply publicly stated they're simply not going to do anything about it. And they're 1.4 billion people and growing. They used to have a government control on population expansion. They have lifted that control. They want their population to expand as much as it can. It's part of their new program to rule the world economically. That's called their 2025 plan. That they plan to rule the world by 2025. You can look that up, by the way. I'm not being political. I'm just telling you what's happening, okay? So, and India, the second largest pollution contributor to the planet by far, they're about 1.2 billion people and growing fast. They say they want to help with air pollution, but they just don't have the money to help with air and water pollution. So folks, here's the deal. The 21st century is going to keep getting worse. The air pollution is going to keep getting worse. And all the stress on your body, the water pollution, the chemicals in our food, it's going to keep getting worse. You have to get a grip on reality. This is not 1900, and it's not 11 years ago when we launched Phytomatrix. Things have changed, and things are changing rapidly. Now, most of you, I think, on this call remember my presentation that goes way back where I talked about the USDA study on fresh fruits and vegetables for antioxidants. And in 1995, the USDA said, people just aren't getting enough antioxidant from diet alone. So we're going to have people eat 5 to 7 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables. Well, of course, only 11% of the American population did it. I don't know what percentage of the Canadian population, but I'm sure it wasn't much different. We're pretty similar in our food habits. And they kept repeating this study. It was a serum ORAC blood study, just as we did for our amazing, fantastic, and world's greatest AO product. It's the best antioxidant in the planet, as proven by 3 human studies doing serum ORAC analysis, and almost no one on planet Earth knows that that antioxidant even exists. That's a hint for all of you folks. All right, so here's reality. They keep repeating this study every couple of years. By 2012, they say, look, we have no choice. We now have to recommend 13 servings a day of fresh fruits and vegetables. It'll be worse next year too, so we're not going to do the study anymore. So the government stopped spending the money. They said, we're not going to do the study anymore, but we were up to 13 servings in 2012 because things get worse. So in 17 years, the recommendation doubled. What would it be today? The point is, the level of nutrition that you took 10, 11 years ago is no longer adequate. It's no longer sufficient. I've had associates over the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years where I get a fairly regular email from different people, not the same people, who will email me and say, the products used to work, but they don't work anymore. Folks, the products still work, but you are different, and our environment is different, and our food is different. As you age, your nutritional needs increase, and your ability to digest nutrition from your food decreases at about 1% per year starting at age 40. By the time you're 60, you now have a reduction of approximately 20% in your ability to digest nutrition from your food. Folks, get a grip on this. We need more powerful products. We can't go with our favorite marketing stories from years ago. We need more powerful products. This is a physical reality to help people with their health, and that's what we're all here for, to help people with their health. Here's another example. Some of you remember this from my book, Toxic Planet. So scientists in 1997, they do a food study, and they are testing a bunch of different fruits and vegetables for nutritional content. I kept this one for my slide because I love peaches. It's my favorite fruit. So here you look at the nutritional content of vitamin A in a peach in 1951. If you go forward to 1997, you now, in order to get that same level of vitamin A, you have to eat 53 peaches. So what's changed? Farming's changed. Lots of things have changed. And this means that over a 46-year period, you're looking at going from 2 peaches to 53 peaches because things are changing. Things are not the same. They're not static. And we have to realize that. We just have to get a grip on this. All right? So that was 22 years ago, that study. I wonder how many peaches we'd have to eat today. If we did the same study, how many would we need? I don't know. But it's probably more than 53. And as much as I love them, I'm not going to eat 53 peaches a day. I'm just not going to do it. So science, folks, evidence, proof. Journal of the American Medical Association, they published this study, which is done by Fletcher and Fairfield. This is a blood study. The research question was, do Americans get sufficient level of vitamin, just vitamin, that's all they tested. Do they get sufficient vitamin from diet alone? Answer, apparently not. And they said, you know what, it appears prudent for everybody to take a vitamin supplement. That was in 2002. Do you think it's worse 17 years later? I can virtually guarantee you it's worse. I virtually guarantee it. And we look at the government statistics, and these are taken from the National Health Survey. 75% of Americans, and by the way, 73% of Canadians, because I know we have Canadians on this call, take dietary supplements. That's great. That's wonderful. But the statistics from America shows that even though diet is supposed to be perfect, it's not. It's just not. And everything's supposed to be the same as it was back in 1941. It isn't. So when they do the survey, they're surprised to find out that 90% of Americans are deficient in one, actually it's 2 now, are deficient in at least 2 nutrients. 70% of Americans are deficient in more than a dozen nutrients. It's getting worse, not better, folks. This is why we needed to make the switch from Phytomatrix, which is a great quality product, to a much more powerful technology because we need it. So I ask the question of people all the time, are you a ruminating quadruped? And most of them say, what the heck is that? Well, that would be like a cow or a deer. So herbivorous animals that eat all day long. Why does a cow eat all day long? Because the nutritional value in a blade of grass, a leaf, a plant is very low by gram weight. And you have to do a tremendous amount of this material to get where you need to be. Now with Phytomatrix, we started with the Indian mustard sprouts grown hydroponically, a great marketing story, wonderful story for control of the purity of the product, to keep it away from pollution. All that was a great story. Our supplier retired. He sold to a couple of young men who just didn't do a very good job. They just didn't know what they were doing. And you may recall that there was a time when all the OSPs went on back order and corporate was sending out in their place a bottle of original Catalyst, a bottle of AO, and a bottle of Plus instead, because our supplier became so unreliable. They weren't sending us what we had asked for. The material didn't assay out. And folks, we check every batch. Every batch. That's a Mannatech difference. If we wouldn't have checked the batches, you wouldn't have known, and those products would not have been delivering the nutrition for you, which is why another Mannatech difference. We check because we've got a lab to do it. So we then switched to a yeast-based phytomatrix, which is what you have right now in OSP. Phytomatrix will be going away as soon as the OSPs are gone that we have currently. That will be September, October is the projection. The Catalyst, the new Catalyst product, will replace Phytomatrix in the OSP, and everyone will be better off with health support. I positively guarantee you that. Everyone. And you will learn why here in the next few moments. So let's face this, folks. Even if you have a perfect diet, and it's unlikely that you do, be reasonable, you are still not getting enough nutrition to keep up with the stresses of the 21st century. This is science. And stress by itself, psychological stress by itself, causes an increase in nutritional needs. I've never met a human being that didn't have stress. And some of us have a lot more than others. That's a fact. That's why I've stayed with Catalyst since I formulated that product years ago. And by the way, there were a couple of emails. You know what? Because this is a training and not a recruiting call, I'm just going to say this. Most of you on this call know me. Most of you on this call are my friends. I will do anything to help you folks, those of you who know that. And some of these emails that have come in recently, things like, oh, Dr. Nugent only is pushing Catalyst because he formulated, or he's got a vested interest, or this or that. When we came out with Phytomatrix, who was the guy who launched Phytomatrix? Even though I created Catalyst, I stopped talking about Catalyst 100%. And I only talked about Phytomatrix because my job is to serve you, not me. Please, folks, don't, it really hurts me when I get these emails. I'm here to serve you, not me. If I was serving me, I never would have joined Mannatech. Trust me. I would have stayed in my very comfortable life, making tons of money. And so I'm here to serve you. So please, on that. So let's go back to this narrative here. Is your immune system immune to pollution? No, of course it isn't. Are you immune to the stress of the 21st century? Of course you're not. We have to have a more powerful product. We just have to, my friends. There's no way around this. And plant material does not have a high enough nutritive value for us to deliver the power you need for your health. Just over the last few months, I've been reading an increasing number of studies on magnesium. That's a different conversation we'll have maybe on a future call for you, Wendy. I've been reading more about magnesium. Studies are increasing in this area, and they're telling us things that we didn't understand before. Magnesium has always been important. For instance, your heart muscle cannot maintain heart rhythm without magnesium. You go low on magnesium, your heart begins to beat irregularly. It begins to fibrillate, okay? And this is an increasing problem we're seeing across the so-called civilized world. Why are we seeing this? Because people aren't getting enough magnesium in their diet every day. We're now seeing more than 70% of Americans who are not a little deficient in magnesium, but like really deficient. Most people on the planet, they think, oh, magnesium, that's what you use to break down your calcium. This is true. That is true. And here's the problem. When magnesium comes in contact with calcium, the calcium takes it all. So you have nothing left over for your heart muscle, for your nervous system, for your brain. The list goes on. I could write a 300-page book on magnesium. The amount of magnesium in Phytomatrix, it would take 98 Phytomatrix tablets to equal the amount of magnesium in 2 Catalyst. Are you willing to take 98 tablets? I doubt that. Are you willing to pay the expense? I doubt that. So think about this. How many Phytomatrix are you willing to take so you can keep saying plant technology, real food technology? How much are you willing to pay? A question that I answered on the S&P call this morning. In fact, Laura Nabnett asked the question, and she said, well, I heard you say that if we could stay with all plant technology, if we we're paying $100 for the product. That's not exactly what I said. So let's make this clear for everybody. It's not possible to have a pure plant technology product. Now, I know a lot of you are shocked that I just said that. Phytomatrix and Nutriveris are not, N-O-T, not 100% plant technology. They never were. You cannot make a tablet without tableting agents, which are man-made, so classified as synthetic. You cannot make a powder without flow agents, so they are man-made, and so they are classified synthetic. Are they bad for you? Do they harm you? No, they're inert. They have no function on your health one way or the other, but they have to be there. So to say Phytomatrix and Nutriveris were always 100% pure plant, no, I don't know who started saying that, because they couldn't be. It's not scientifically possible by any science available at this moment. Maybe in the future, who knows, but not today. It's not possible. All right. So I hope I'm making this very, very clear for all of you, but I'm going to give you a little bit more. You have to imagine how it's been for me these last few days, just getting hammered with emails and the negative comments that people have made about me on Facebook and so on. Totally unwarranted, completely unwarranted. But all right, so Phytomatrix was designed at a different time. We designed Phytomatrix at a time when our legal regulatory group said, from now on, we can only make products that support the health of people that have excellent diets and are already healthy. We can't make products that address special nutritional needs. That was our directive when we came out with Phytomatrix. That product did support the health of people who had no specific nutritional needs. Example, a need for blood sugar support, a need for liver support, a need for blood pressure support, that kind of thing. And it did support that just fine for people who already had a really superb diet. Well, that was almost nobody then, and it will be almost nobody in the future. Okay, so hopefully we've got that taken care of. The studies are now indicating, as I mentioned a little while ago, on magnesium in particular, that in fact, I'm going to have a conversation with the team this next week that we might even want to consider a future version of Catalyst where the magnesium is twice as high as the calcium. Now, I know the conventional wisdom has always been you want to have 2 parts calcium to 1 part magnesium for bone health. But what we're seeing, the needs of magnesium now, it looks to me like we can make a very strong scientific case to be the first vitamin product in the world to have twice as much as magnesium versus the calcium. That will still work for bone health, but it will contribute to other aspects of your health, like heart health as well. So what I'm trying to say for you folks again and again here is that things have changed. This is not 1941. It's not 2008. This is now. Now, this is important for you too, and I'm talking science. Now, understand, folks, at this moment, and who knows what will happen next week, things change, okay? I don't plan on leaving Mannatech. At this moment, I'm Mannatech senior scientist, which means I have a tiny bit more influence than I had in the past. Different chief officers had different ideas. Well, my idea is to stick with science. I want clear, accurate, scientific support for the safest, most effective products. That's what I want. And unless they push me out of my position, that's what I'm going to keep pushing for all of you. All right? So let's be clear. Organic is a marketing term and a science term. The marketing term is really not even close to accurate. It simply means in marketing, what it says is we've not put any pesticides on this produce. But in science, that's not what it means at all. There is one mineral known to science, one, only one. There's no way around this, which is organic. It's called carbon. Life on this planet is carbon-based. There's lots of carbon in you, and that's why you're organic. Minerals, with the exception of carbon, are not organic. They are natural, but they're not organic. Only carbon is organic. So everybody get that straight. All right. Again, this is my approach. Like it or not, I want scientific accuracy so that no competitor ever can say, Mannatech does this and Mannatech doesn't tell the truth and all this nonsense. We are going to stick with scientific fact when we talk about our products going into the future. I like a good marketing story as well as the next person, but it has to be based on fact. Chelates. Now, most people are fine with my explanation of chelates now, but just for the few of you who may not understand. Minerals in the dirt are inorganic. They have a specific electronic charge. Every molecule has its own electronic charge. In order for a plant to draw an inorganic substance from the soil or from water, if you're doing it hydroponically, it has to chelate. The plant itself chelates the inorganic mineral by bonding to it and changing it. It encapsulates it and changes the electronic charge. So a plant itself chelates the mineral. That's a scientific fact, all right? So understand that. So what do we do with a chelate then? We take the mineral, which is natural, which is why I've used the words natural mineral chelate. The mineral is natural, but all minerals except carbon are inorganic, okay? So we take a natural mineral, we chelate it with a natural amino acid, which encapsulates it just like a plant does when the plant is drawing the natural mineral from the soil. We're doing the same thing, but we do it on a mass basis at the production facility. So we take the natural mineral, we encapsulate it with a naturally occurring protein amino acid. That's called chelation. Why? Because your body can't absorb it unless we do. There is one exception, and I'll talk about that in the next few moments. Calcium carbonate. So I'm getting hammered with this calcium carbonate thing, and it's making me nuts, folks. Everyone listen carefully. I'm not going to allow anything in any of our products that'll harm you. I'm not going to do it. I will resign from Mannatech before that happens. So be certain of that. What is calcium carbonate? Why does everyone on the planet who makes a bone health supplement and vitamin mineral products, why do they use calcium carbonate? I'll explain the percentages in a moment. What is it? Well, if you go and you Google it, oh my gosh, Google makes me crazy. So you go and you Google it, and you might get limestone, chalk, coral, seashells, eggshells, all kinds of stuff. All of that is natural calcium, which has, over time, through a natural process, mixed with carbonates. And you could, theoretically, as an example, you could take eggshells, theoretically. I don't want you to do this. I'm just giving you an example. But you could theoretically take eggshells, grind them up into a powder, separate them with water. If you mix it in water, what will happen is the carbonate will separate from the calcium, okay? I mean, that's calcium right there. But, all right, so what do? We don't feed anybody limestone. You're not getting chalk. We're not feeding you eggshells. At the production facility, what we do is we combine bicarbonate, and some of you are old enough to remember when that was a normal antacid recommendation, right? You got heartburn, have a spoonful of baking soda mixed in water. Did it harm anyone? No, of course not. And the carbonate, what it does is it mixes with acid and it neutralizes the stomach acid. That's why people did it. And that's why another thing you get when you Google it is antacid tablets. Yes, antacid tablets are made of calcium carbonate. That's true, because they neutralize stomach acid. That's not what we did, though. Calcium carbonate has the highest level of calcium by gram weight. The next highest level is calcium citrate, which is a chelate, but that's 21%. Calcium carbonate is 40%. I need you to have a certain amount of calcium every day. I need you to. You want to have that calcium every day. So then you say, well, what do? Well, at the production facility, we're not using limestone and all that stuff. We simply take, because this is controlled, so that we know everything is clean and safe and no lead content and all that stuff, as you may find if you were harvesting limestone, okay? So we take the bicarbonate and we mix it with calcium chloride in the lab. Both are natural, okay? Neither are organic, because only carbon is organic. Both are natural. You mix them together, and you have calcium carbonate. Now, what happens then in the supplement? When the free calcium reacts in your stomach with acid, what happens is the calcium ion is released, it's freed, it's liberated from the carbonate. One of the emails I got was, if it's 40% calcium, what's the rest of it? The other 60% is carbonate. So the carbonate and the calcium separate in stomach acid. Now the free calcium ion goes into your digestive tract, and it interacts with things called butyrates. And don't look it up right now, but you can find great stuff on butyrates. In fact, I've submitted a new formula for gut health, which is heavily reliant on butyrates and how they work, but that's a different talk. So the butyrates then they combine with the calcium ion. So the calcium ion is just calcium, it's nothing else. It's been separated from the carbonate. The carbonate's neutralized your stomach acid. The ion has gotten free and it's gone into your digestive tract. It combines with butyrates. It becomes calcium butyrate. Calcium butyrate reacts to fermentation. Fermentation occurs when certain sugars are fermenting in your gastrointestinal tract. Our new product, TrueShape, has a technology in it which is super amazing. This technology selectively routes the carbohydrates that cause fat to deposit out your colon, if you will, and it causes the carbohydrates that you need for fermentation and other things like ambertose. It routes that through the digestive tract and into the bloodstream. It's a remarkable product. So watch the video, you'll see that. But this is all together now, this is all combined. So as the fermentation increases, the more fermentation you have, the higher your absorption of calcium from calcium butyrate that occurs through your intestinal wall into your bloodstream. And as you see on the slide, I think science is a beautiful thing. Think about that. It's such a natural process. It works with all of our products together like this, increasing your calcium absorption. I love this. You got to love that. So I've already talked about the calcium issue. I won't belabor this. The magnesium issue. I won't belabor this too much. But just to let you know that the levels of calcium really was inadequate for today's needs, and magnesium is ridiculously low. The plant-sourced, the sprout-sourced phytomatrix never had any calcium or magnesium in it at all. So we added calcium and magnesium from red algae, which is a plant. And some governments, like Australia and New Zealand, wouldn't allow us to use it at all. So they had zero calcium, zero magnesium in their product. And as you know, or many of you should know, we discontinued phytomatrix down in Australia and New Zealand some time ago, and they are doing fabulous. They're doing better than ever before, taking the original Catalyst product. And of course, the new one is even stronger. So just to give you an idea on the calcium magnesium issue again, because the majority of people who buy dietary supplements on planet Earth are females over 40, the vast majority. Males are allowed, certainly, but the majority are women. Females over 40 have specific and unique bone health requirements that men typically do not experience until they're 70. So men do lose bone density, but usually not until they're 70, whereas women are starting to lose it at 40, some women even at 35. So this is why you have these very high levels of recommendations of calcium, but you have to have adequate levels of magnesium to break down the calcium. Now, the only item that we deliberately, in the new Catalyst, deliberately made less than the minimum daily requirement was our calcium complex. Why did I make that recommendation? Because the science, again, science, the science shows that people do not absorb calcium well if they take it at more than 500 milligrams at a time. So our calcium complex is 500 milligrams, and that's deliberate. And that's another question I get. So you look at the comparison between Phytomatrix and Catalyst, the blue bar being Catalyst, the green bars being Phytomatrix. It's clear, it's obvious which one is better for bone health. It's just super obvious. And I won't go over this study because we don't have time, but there are studies out there showing the absorption of calcium carbonate through that calcium butyrate tract that I just explained to all of you a few moments ago. Even in this study that you're looking at on your screen right now, even in this study where they did everything wrong, virtually everything wrong in the study, these doctors didn't have a clue what they were doing, and the calcium carbonate still was well absorbed, even though they messed up the study really bad. That's why I use it as an example, but no time to talk about that right now. So I've already talked about this, and let's move into some of the differences between the two. We only have a few minutes left. Emphasis again. This is a much more powerful product. Its purpose is to give you the nutrition you need in the safest and most efficacious way based on the latest science, because pure plant-based just can't do that job anymore. We just can't take that many tablets, okay? So that's the first thing. So you see, and you'll watch the video, great 5-minute video on Catalyst. Oh man, it's great, this new video. You want to watch that, you want to use that. So you've got 100% of a lot of nutrients, 19 different nutrients. Then there are nutrients that you see in the second portion there that are more than 100%. Like for instance, there's 250% of the daily value of vitamin B1, huge benefit for that in terms of energy and cognitive function and just feeling generally happy, feeling generally good, lots of other things. 500% of the B12, and lots of folks benefit from that, and the list goes on. So we also have in Catalyst, but never in Phytomatrix, we have a full glyconutrient complex, and so a full ambertose complex, if you will, which this would be the product ambertose complex without the shellfish source glucosamine, essentially is what you're looking at in every serving. And in addition to that, the ashwagandha gives you even more of the glycose. Now, another difference is recognizing, and those of you who've used my original Catalyst formula, you recognize that in that formula I had 2 additional blends. One I called the Ambroglycin Matrix, and that included spirulina and some other vegetable materials in there, because I felt it was important in the original product, and I feel it's important in this product, to have a special blend of phytonutrients. Remember our old phytolose story. So to have our phytonutrients from strawberries and blueberries and raspberries and tart cherry and elderberry. My God, folks, look up elderberry for its immune support. Wow. That by itself is amazing. And then there's a proprietary vegetable blend, which is broccoli, sprouts, tomato, carrot, spinach, kale, all your phytonutrients in that blend. Now, you don't have that in Phytomatrix, and you don't have that in any competing vitamin mineral product. I'm giving you lots of things that you're not finding in a competitor's vitamin mineral product. Reason to use Catalyst. Now, I love spirulina. It's sold by a lot of companies as a standalone product. There was 100 milligrams of it in the original Catalyst. There's 100 milligrams per serving in the current Catalyst. I've also kept alpha-lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10. Obviously, both of those are for the heart. Alpha-lipoic acid is very helpful for aging skin, to help your skin stay younger longer. Alpha-lipoic acid. We've never talked about that with the original Catalyst. It's a huge benefit. And also boron for bone health and vanadium for pancreas health. Side-by-side comparisons. Everybody wanted that. Here you've got some side-by-sides to look at, comparing the two products. What's different? Well, you can see that Catalyst, both the original and the improved, fat loss support, that's what I designed the original Catalyst for, and stress support, those two things. Mood elevation, lots of folks need that today. And then in the new product that you don't have in the original Catalyst, support for liver health, we never had that before, plus support for blood pressure. Folks, we've never been able to make that claim before. Legal allows us to make this claim with this vitamin product. Support for blood pressure, that's huge. Plus all the stuff that you saw in the original Catalyst, joint support, collagen, all that stuff. Looking at stress support levels, we're using folate instead of folic acid because of the new studies, again, science, the new studies showing that there are more people than we ever knew before that have a defective gene that will not allow them to do something called methylation. And I'm not going to get into all the minutia of that. If you can't methylate, then you can't take something like folic acid and turn it into a nutrient in your blood. So we've switched it to folate. So you've got that. And I won't, because we're really running out of time here. So antioxidants, I want you to see this. I had two people, including one of our people on our staff this morning. Well, I take Mannatech for vitamin C. Folks, Mannatech has 54 milligrams of vitamin C in it. The original Catalyst has 180. The new Catalyst has 200. Phytomatrix has 30. Okay. Now, there are both synthetic and natural vitamin C's in here. Why? Because we had to get the level up high enough where it makes a difference. 200 milligrams of vitamin C per 2 tablets. You take 4 tablets a day, 400 milligrams of vitamin C each day, which will do what you want vitamin C to do. It will raise your white count when you have an infection. It will support cartilage. It will support collagen. It does support you for histamine reactions, for your nasal issues. So the synthetic does that. The natural does that. They are combined. And, just, I don't want anyone to have any misconceptions about this or say, oh, you never told me. I'm telling you. So you've got this information right now. And 400 milligrams of vitamin C, that's almost a standalone vitamin C product, folks. Catalyst is so powerful, literally. If I could get every person on the planet to take the new Catalyst and Ambertose, just those two things, I would be a really happy man, and we would see the health of people improving like you cannot believe. And of course, obviously, I'd like people to take AO always, but that's why we are putting it into the OSP very, very soon. So as soon as the Phytomatrix runs out. For blood sugar support, Catalyst is clearly superior. For metabolism, that is metabolizing body fat, Catalyst is clearly superior. There's no question about it. And then you have, again, here you have a comparison of some things that are in Catalyst that were never in Phytomatrix and just can't be in Phytomatrix. And when you think you've got all of this value, and the price is $49.99, I'm pretty sure that's what the price is. I don't do the pricing stuff, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And again, bone density support, Catalyst is where it needs to be. I started on Catalyst as soon as I formulated it back in 1998, really. We started selling it in 99. And I tried Phytomatrix for about a month. My personal special needs for blood sugar support and other areas of support, my blood test came up short. I went back on Catalyst. Every time somebody asked me anywhere in the Mannatech world, which one do you take? I always gave them an honest response. I use Catalyst because my body has greater needs and my stress levels are absurd with my travel schedule and work schedule and lack of sleep and all that. Ashwagandha is another reason, our patented form of ashwagandha is another reason why we have something special in Catalyst that you don't find in any other multivitamin in the world. This is important. This is special. So you can see all this stuff about cardiovascular health, energy, immune system, antioxidant, fat loss, liver, kidney support in this product, not in previous products, nervous system support, glandular support, blood pressure support, blood sugar support, support for healthy skin, hair, eyes, and joints. All of that stuff, and for mood and, of course, bones and calmness. All of our direction that we keep trying to do as much as we can that you're seeing here. And so anyway, we're pretty close to the end. So Wendy, I'm going to give this back over to you. I apologize for going so fast. I just wanted to try and squeeze it in.
All right, Dr. Nugent. Wow, you covered a lot of things tonight. We really appreciate it. A lot of people are making comments about how much they appreciate you. And so that is awesome. We definitely do appreciate you. Here's one. We sincerely thank you for your devotion to us and your work at bringing us safe, effective products for our friends and family. So awesome. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Nugent. There's a couple of questions that I'm not sure we got answered. Greg LaRock is asking, why is there so little B12? Is that...
Well, the chart looks like there's so little, but on your... I'm going to get my glasses here to pull up the label because we don't have this mounted on to Mannatech Science yet. But you should have 250% of the daily value. No, I'm sorry, 500. Yeah, I'm looking at the label right now. Greg, if you're listening, the answer is there is 500% of the daily requirement of vitamin B12, as I mentioned earlier in tonight's presentation. 200%, 250% of the B1, 500% of your daily requirement of the B12. So there's not so little there, it's so huge.
All right. And Dr. Nugent, can you stop share on your screen so we can
okay, let me see. Where is that?
Bottom,
this is not something I do very often.
Bottom in
What's
the
on the
center.
bottom?
Bottom center, you should see a stop screen.
Nothing's coming up for me on the bottom.
Okay, let me see if I can just...
Oh, I see. It's at the top of my screen. There we go. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's some other questions. Pauletta, Ron, or Amanda, if you see any other questions here that need to be answered in the chat.
I know Bella is raising her hand. Dr. Bella, you need to unmute.
Okay. We'll just take a question or two here. I know that we're getting about out of time, but while we've got Dr. Nugent, if you've got something you want to ask.
And you know what, Wendy?
Yes.
For your group, I will stay and just do questions for a few minutes. So don't worry. Don't worry about it. If you guys got questions, and throw them at me. Just be nice.
All right. Bella, can you unmute, hon?
Yeah, I think she's having a hard time.
Let me see if I can get it unmuted for her. There you go, Bella.
Yeah. Yes, good evening. I have a question. How young should be a person to take 4 tablets a day?
Well, the way we'll calculate it, doctor, and by the way, doctor, I like your hair. So that's...
Thank you. Thank you.
The way we calculate body weight, the way we calculate this in the U.S. is for vitamin and mineral only, not for any other kind of nutrient, only for vitamin and mineral. We calculate by body weight. So adult body weight would be 120 pounds. And then if the child is, as an example, 60 pounds, you give half as much. And if they're 30 pounds, you give a fourth as much, and so on.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
It's clear. Thanks.
That's a great question. I never would have thought to think about it.
It's important.
That's awesome.
That's
So
good.
tablets is good for little kids too. I mean, 60 pounds, right? So it's
Yeah, no, and that would be fine. But for a 60-pound, you wouldn't want to do more than 2 tablets a day. So, 1 twice daily. It is important because Catalyst has a combination of fat and water solubles. So you want to take it more than once a day. You want to divide it into 2 separate doses if you can.
Sure.
It's very, very important.
Oh, that's a biggie. Thanks, Steve. Dr. Steve.
You bet. By the way, because the level of B1 and B12 are so incredibly high, some people will find themselves, if they take it too late in the afternoon or evening, they may have trouble going to sleep because they're going to be too energized, too supercharged. So you're going to have to plan that accordingly based on your requirements.
The other thing too, we're not implying that someone is heavier, that they should take more than 4 a day, right, Dr. Steve? Someone's just saying you take more,
No.
way more.
Well, that's something we don't have studies on to know for certain, because the way a person metabolizes is based on so many variables. So I'm really not comfortable with saying that. So I would just, stick with the 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. We do have a question from Patty Browett. Is there iron in the Catalyst? You talked about there not being enough for a prenatal, but
Yeah, there's a little bit of iron in Catalyst, which is peripheral. We've used a lot of plant material, as I mentioned. There's a lot of plant material in the Catalyst product. Some of these plants have residual levels of iron. We can't separate the iron from that without damaging the molecule, so we just leave it. But the amount of iron is too low to be used as a prenatal. Now, that brings up a question that people may have. And in fact, one of our legal officers hit me with this Thursday night after I got off the stage. She said, "I love your presentation." Legal never says that to me, by the way. And she said, "I love your presentation." I said, "Really? I'm not in jail?" "No, you're good." And she said, "But why is there no iron added to it?" So here's something for all of you. Only about 25% of the people in the Western world have iron deficiencies, because people in the Western world eat a lot of meat, and meat is very high in iron.
Yes.
Iron is one of two nutrients which are known to be potentially dangerous and even possibly lethal if you take too much. The next step from my perspective as a healthcare practitioner is, if someone has low iron, if they're vegetarian, that's because of their dietary choices. But if they eat an omnivorous diet and they have low iron, they need to be under supervision of a doctor. So what I don't want to do with our products is to give iron, because a lot of people won't need it. And if you have too much of it, it's a problem. There also are new scientific studies on a disease called hemochromatosis. Hemochromatosis is called iron overload disease. These are people with a genetic defect, and it causes them to accumulate iron instead of process it. This can be very dangerous for them. So I chose not to put iron in any of our vitamin products. And when I was not influential, but rather just a formulator, I said to McAnally, I said later to Rob Sennett, and I've said this along the way, I really think we should not add iron, and here's why. And so if you need an iron supplement, get one and get under the care of your doctor. If you're a vegetarian and you're short on iron, it's because you're a vegetarian, okay? And you're not going to eat meat, so take an iron supplement. That's it.
Dr. Nugent, Doug Wickham is asking, can we say anything about the ashwagandha and telomere lengthening?
Legal has not given me the go on that. And in fact, Doug, you're very smart. I mean, you really have that, because that's one of those things, that's one of the reasons that we chose this particular ashwagandha. We think the studies on anti-aging and the lengthening of your telomeres, this can, according to study, extend your lifespan. But I don't have approval to say that, all right? So this is a training call. I'm just letting all of you know we're not going to say that until legal says you can say that. But Doug, you're a very smart fellow.
Okay. Let's see. What other questions weren't answered? Do you see any there, Ron and Paulette or Amanda?
Well, there was one about someone was asking about urine being yellow after taking the product.
Wonderful question. No, that's a wonderful question. Yeah, let me explain it to you.
Okay.
Okay, one of the vitamins that you'll find in any vitamin product is a vitamin called riboflavin. That's vitamin B2. That's named from an ancient Latin word which means yellow. Now, that's not the precise Latin word. It's from a Latin word, okay, that means yellow. You need vitamin B2. B2 is a water-soluble vitamin. Everyone has different needs, and in fact, you may find that someone during a 4-hour period on Tuesday uses 100% of their B2, and that same person on Thursday is only using 20% of their B2 because of whatever they're doing with their food and their stress and so on. B2 is the one nutrient, because it's yellow, it's the one nutrient that if you don't use it in your bloodstream, you pass it out in your urine. What people say all the time, which is incorrect, is they'll say, oh, well, this proves that you're not absorbing your vitamins. No, it doesn't, nothing of the kind. It simply says your body didn't need that much B2 during this 4-hour period, so your urine was yellow, it passed out. That's all it means. So great question. Thanks for asking that question.
Oh, I feel so much better.
We do have a question here is, do we have access to a new video on Catalyst? And yes, we do. If that is in the library, go to library.mannatech. And if you go up in the top menu bar, you'll see products. I think it says new products. Yeah, products. If you click on products, you'll see all the core products and the new products. And there's a video there for Catalyst Multivitamins. So thank you for asking that. We had a comment here too, if I can find it again. Tanya says, thank you for the ashwagandha. My new associate who recently moved from India was impressed that we use this ingredient. So that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we've covered the questions here. Thank you, Dr. Nugent. Oh, yes, Bella. Do you have another question?
I have a question. I can give you suggestions for everybody. If you want to know more information about ashwagandha, I can send you. I studied ashwagandha for 10 years. And it's incredible. And thank you for putting in this product.
Well, Bella,
Yes.
we're going to bring you back.
Yeah, we're going to have Bella on a call to explain that 10 years of knowledge on ashwagandha.
Yep. And let me pass this on to you folks too. Remember I told you at the beginning of this call, I'm going to do a new 5-minute video just on our patented ashwagandha, nothing else in the video, because it's that important. But we're going to be putting sensoril, that's the patented ashwagandha, we're going to be putting that in a lot of products going forward because it has more value and more application than what we're currently being allowed to say. But I still want you to have the value, even if I can't say it. I still want you to have it. Wow. So understand there's a lot more that we've not been permitted to say yet. I hope that'll change. But if you see the ashwagandha, know that it's a really big benefit. So Dr. Bella, you're totally right on that. It's a very big benefit, especially this patented form, which is the process that they used both in the growing and in the harvesting of the plants is so different from your standard ordinary ashwagandha. It's way more potent, and that's why there are 11 scientific studies to validate it. I'm pretty excited about us having it in our products. It makes our Catalyst 100% different from any other multivitamin in the universe, okay, besides other differences in Catalyst as well.
All right.
You buy it from India?
Yes, from India, yes.
Oh, okay.
Now we're growing ours in the U.S., but the original plants come from India, yes.
Okay, Dr. Nugent, one other quick question. Carrie Sully is asking, would it be accurate to describe quickly to a prospect food-based vitamins, natural mineral chelates?
Well, you can certainly say natural mineral chelates, and there's a ton of different food products in this. I'm not sure what legal would say about that. I would say it would probably be okay. I'm not a legal officer, so I can't. Okay. But I think yeah, because I put a ton of, fruit and vegetable and spirulina, and there's all kinds of food in this product.
Okay. And Jennifer's asking, is Phytomatrix, it is being replaced in the OSP, but will it still be available as a separate item?
No, it's going to go away.
Okay.
It's going to go away because if here's a question I answered for the S&P this morning. As a public company, we simply cannot maintain products that don't sell. We just can't. And sales have been dropping on Phytomatrix for some time, whereas Catalyst sales have been going up even before this new announcement. And so something's going on with the associate base where they seem to know that. Mm-hmm. And so that's going away. However, if someone is really stuck on the story, the food, the plant-based story, Nutrivaris is going to stay in inventory as far as we're concerned indefinitely. It's always there. And remember, don't say to anybody it's 100% plant-based, because there are anti-clumping agents. You can't make a powder without an anti-clumping agent. It's a scientific fact. And the anti-clumping agents are made in the lab. So, you can say that the actives are 100% plant-based. That you can say, but not that the whole product is 100% plant-based.
Well, I think, you know what, Dr. Steve, I think what we all have to learn here is that we use the claims. If we just begin to just use the claims that the company has given to us in our literature, when you think of all the different areas that the product supports, to me, you don't even have to get into that. It's, you know, we do have a lot of food, and we have the berries, and we have the other natural, you know, fruits and vegetables. I think we all need to get away from the concept of what we originally thought 11 years ago was phytomatrix, and all grow into the new language of the benefits that are approved, which are phenomenal.
Yes.
So it's a, you know, it's a learning curve here that we're having.
That's right. And, you know, I want everybody to go to library.mannatech and pull off the brochure on the Catalyst Multivitamin. There is such a long list of all the benefits, like including the blood pressure and the, you know, cardiovascular health, and all of this whole list that Dr. Nugent's gone through for us tonight. That in itself is plenty to really get most people's attention on this vitamin.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but all of this,
yeah,
all the benefits of the product, and
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then plus the label is here. So this is a really good document that talks about everything the doctor. I don't know if you can see it, Dr. Steve, or not, but
I can. It's a little blurry for me, but I can see what you're showing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want them to see how extensive the information is. This is what you hand to somebody. And so why get into the natural, not natural? I think when we talk about the benefits of this product, that it's a new story. And I love the fact that, and the number one thing that I got tonight was the world has changed in these last 11 years.
Yes.
And if you know, the companies that don't grow with change go away.
Yes.
And so what we're talking about here tonight, and I'm very proud of this, is that you saw a need, and our corporate offices saw a need, that we needed to give our customers something much more powerful to deal with stress. And
Yes.
that connection with stress is so critical to the lifestyle that I don't know a single person either that doesn't have stress in their life. And here we have a formula that is safe, effective, and scientific. I learned the 3 words.
I love you for that.
But I you know, I have, this is the 3rd time I hear this presentation, and I love some of the things you've added, and thank you for doing that. Really clearing up, you know, and even allowing us to ask questions. I hope everybody tonight, and my gosh, almost everybody stayed. I hope you realize what a special gift this is to all of us tonight. For Dr. Nugent, who works a long day, to stay and answer all our questions. I know I, for one, thank you so much, and I hope our team sees that there's a lot of caring going on here, not only by our corporate offices, by Dr. Steve's dedication to all of us, and words cannot express that. I do want to let everybody know that the conversation in terms of our products and what's happening with our True Health program is going to continue next week. We're going to have Ashley Turian on next week, and we're going to address and get into not phytomatrix. We're going to get into the True Health program next week. It's a continuation of this discussion about our products, and who knows, maybe we can talk a little bit more about the True Shape as well. I'm certainly impressed with the program. So yeah. I don't know if my other partners want to say anything, but let's.
Mandy, did you want to make any comments before we wrap up?
I just want to thank you, Dr. Nugent. You are a tireless warrior. That you're up tonight and coming on our call is just amazing, and the whole team. This is a powerful team here, and we really appreciate it, and it's going to make a difference to Mannatech and the results that we get. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for saying that, Amanda. Yeah, my first meeting this morning was 8:30 a.m., so Texas time, and it's now 9:18 p.m. Texas time. So
Yes.
It's been a pretty long day for me.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Nugent. Ron, you got a comment?
I just want to say thanks, Dave. Really appreciate you. I'm sure if they haven't figured out that this is an absolutely fabulous product, well, next. Or more Ambertos. Maybe that might
Yeah, more Ambertos.
Well, thank you, Dr. Nugent. We want to let you go so you can get some rest tonight, but this has been just a wealth of information. And you guys, as you can all see, Dr. Nugent is definitely out to give us the best products in the world and has our best interests and our best health in his mind all the time. So thank you, Dr. Nugent, for being with us. Thanks, everybody. Remember, next week, Ashley Torian will be carrying on talking more about some of our products in the True Health System. So be back then. So God bless y'all. Good night.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Achievers Club, Achievers Club.
Good night, Nancy.